I'm very excited to introduce first Anji Bordelon from ChampionX. And Anji will talk to us about how they prevent incidents before they happen. Anji has over 23 years of experience in the midstream industry, the majority of which have been dedicated to establishing GIS solutions for safety and regulatory compliance for pipeline operators. She has been responsible for developing essential integrity management processes and procedures, as well as implementing the workflows and applications to facilitate the required completion. Anji has designed numerous custom web-based GIS portals for viewing pipeline data and providing intelligent metrics and deliverables. So it is my pleasure to introduce to you Anji Bordelon from ChampionX. Over to you, Anji.
Thank you, Sam and Tiffany. I am Anji Bordelon with ChampionX. We are a global leader in upstream and midstream chemicals, solutions, and products. We are super excited to share with you today the solution we have developed with the use of many Esri tools to help us in our effort to prevent or at least reduce pipeline incidents that are due to internal corrosion specifically. When I joined the company about 3 years ago, our corporate management team had taken a very focused look at pipeline safety and even created a specific dedicated midstream group to develop some kind of process to help our customers with this challenge. We understood from the get-go, of course, that assessment and mitigation and continuing monitoring was just key to that success. So we based our model along those lines. So generally, this is the incident rates that we were seeing. Just PHMSA reporting 44% of all gathering incidents were due to internal corrosion in the US and 51% in Canada. And that really resonated with us. And we really felt like as a chemical provider to our customers and a trusted partner, we really felt an obligation to help them drive those numbers down in any way we could. The pipeline failures were obviously causing increased risk to public safety, environmental exposure, and even revenue loss or costly fines. So it's hitting our customers in the pocketbook as well. We were able to bring a solution about that incorporated advanced mapping and spatial analytics to identify what's going on inside their pipeline. We had to give them some kind of method to get out in front of these incidents. Historically, that's just been a challenge because internal corrosion is exactly that. It's internal. It's not something you can see or smell or hear, or maybe you could taste it. But so we had to do something to help them get in front of those to prevent them before they happen, right? It was super difficult to understand what where the corrosion was being introduced and what effect it had on the entire system. So these are basically the kind of objectives we had. Of course, like I mentioned, environmental and safety was first and foremost in our minds. We're trying to bring a prescriptive analysis type methodology rather than a reactive type in our pipeline safety purposes. The governance piece goes just basically hand in hand with the safety. I mean, that's just PHMSA rules that are ensuring the pipeline safety for people, environment, and assets. But we wanted to help our operators with the compliance of those rules and show them how they were demonstrated through our tools. The operational advantages down here, as you can see, there's several. Basically, though, we just wanted to help operators thoroughly assess their pipeline and spend the money where it needs to be spent. With our tools, you can see the type of corrosion activity that's happening and where it's happening. So they can put the money where the problem is, not just shotgun effect and treat everything the same. So this is the workflow that we came up with. Basically, as you can see, we use many Esri tools along the way, and I'll go over these with you real quick. The first step, of course, is to meet with the pipeline operators and review our risk algorithms, make sure we understand their priorities and requirements. we modify anything as necessary. If we're not in agreement, we can, our tools are customizable, so we can integrate with theirs. We gather all of their system GIS data, including the operating conditions and any historical data, anything we can gather that will help build out that model. That drives us over to step 2, where we prepare all of that data along with all of the point data where our field reps are going to be collecting the sample data. We push that out to them on their mobile devices through Collector for ArcGIS. That's worked out really, really well because we can log the data in the schema that we need to bring it back to our desktop to run our tools. So it's been really, really valuable. And that's what happens. They log the data and push it back up to our GIS server, and we bring it into desktop and run our model. Our tools will dynamically then segment that pipeline based on the risk levels that were established over in the first step, right? We symbolize it according to risk level, red high, green low, of course, and publish it up to our GIS portal. Then at that point, we're at step 4. At that point, our customers can log in and see this data. We include very detailed charts and histograms, display them in Insights for ArcGIS. It's super, super analytical, and it's been proven to help so many times. They are able to immediately see where their risks are and develop mitigation plans accordingly. The last step is not really the last step, but it will be in this workflow. We develop and recommend the mitigation plans and implement them, and then we start all over to monitor the effectiveness of that plan. So it's kind of a never-ending little circle there, but it's worked out really, really well. So with all of that being said, I would like to show you a little demo. Okay, so quick disclaimer, this is not real data. This is not a real pipeline. This is not real corrosion data. I made it up, so don't try to figure out where it's at. But this is Insights for ArcGIS. This is where we show our customers where their corrosion activity is happening, right? As I mentioned before, the levels are symbolized red to green, so you can just very quickly see where your hot spots are. You can pop out the legend over here and see the different values, how that's working. All right. Why did that turn? Okay, sorry. Okay, so in the map, you're able to click on any feature within the map, and we would want to find out why that segment right there is so high. So when you select a feature in the map, all the corresponding data below are highlighted. As you can see, these points here now are highlighted. This is a crude system, so we sample for things like paraffin, bacteria, pressure cycles, corrosion rate, things like that. So the goal here basically is to start looking at the weighted risk factor charts. That's what that is. And see where the high spots are, basically. As I'm scrolling down, I don't really see anything that stands out. It looks like the corrosion rate may be high, but as far as a risk factor, it's middle of the road. So we get down to solid deposition, and then you can see it's high as it can get. So is pH water analysis. They are both very high. Those are probably going to be the key drivers in that segment's high ranking, right? Something was introduced in the pipeline at that location that brought those internal corrosion factors in. This is super beneficial. Very recently, we had one of our customers detecting just very high levels of internal corrosion along their pipeline, and we were able to go in and find the producer that was feeding into that line at this point was kind of responsible for introducing those contaminants into the pipeline. They were able to go back to that producer and tell them to clean up their act and and they did. We haven't had that kind of insight into a pipeline before. So kind of appropriate that this is called Insights, because that's exactly what it is. We are able to, from looking at this, we can either develop a better chemical treatment program, better pigging program, or just telling operators or producers to clean up their pipelines. Whatever it takes to reduce those incidents is what we're trying to do with this solution here. So that's a pretty quick overview of our solution. If you have any questions, my contact information, it will be on the presentation that will be provided, and feel free to reach out to me. And that's all I have today. Back to you, Sam and Tiffany.
Thanks, Angie. Well, what a great presentation, and the amazing work that you are doing at ChampionX really to prevent incidents from happening. With oil and gas midstream operators facing increased scrutiny from regulators and internal stakeholders to ensure the integrity and the flow efficiency of their pipeline systems, it's really great to see the work ChampionX is doing to help operators, your clients, achieve compliance while protecting and optimizing the flow of the system.